Just a minute ago, something shocking about Digger Maines broke the internet. Digger is now facing a battle far more challenging than any he's encountered in the backwoods of Tennessee. Although he has captivated the hearts of many with his quick wit and old-school distilling techniques, there is a lot that he has refused to share with the world. This time, his yearning for privacy is taking a break as he finally breaks the silence on one personal struggle that will astonish you. Digger has just broken the internet, and you do not want to miss this. What has he revealed? Stay with us to find out. Digger Maines.
Dwight's an old liquor man from across the mountain. He's got a lot of history in the liquor business as well. Popcorn and Dwight, they did a lot of business together.
Eric Digger Maines is the most recognizable figure in modern American moonshining. His journey from small-town boy to television star would give any struggling individual permission to dream big. Digger was born on the 20th of February 1964 in Newport, Tennessee. He was raised by a tight-knit community that helped mold his character. His community also impacted his love for distilling. Digger's father, Charlie Maines, worked as an undertaker at Brown Funeral Home, and he spent many of his childhood years there. He would sit in the funeral home, sometimes doing homework. It was a somber place for a child, but it was how his father made a living. As a teenager, Eric became increasingly involved in the family business. He helped his father with the funeral routine. He embalmed corpses and helped with the cleaning. With time, he got his license. This hands-on experience helped him learn to pay close attention to detail. Working alongside his father also improved their father-son bond. Working in the funeral industry for many might have been a job that they would turn down at the slightest mention. But for Digger, it was a call to duty. This skill was first his father's, and now it was his. But his heart was drawing close to somewhere else. He was drawn to moonshiners around the area. He loved how they lived independently and showed a close connection to the land. He once mentioned that he did not pursue this profession for the money. While growing up, he observed that old guys making liquor were gentle and always helped people in need. The trade was illicit and promised great fortune, but that was not the appeal for Digger. The character of these men was that of honorable men. They were self-reliant, yet generous. In his eyes, they couldn't be criminals. They were pillars of the community. His education came from two sources. One was the practical skills he learnt at his father's funeral home. The second was the knowledge he learnt from the traditional moonshiners. In fact, some would say that his education began when he came under Popcorn Sutton's wing. Marvin Popcorn Sutton was a legendary American Appalachian moonshiner and bootlegger from Maggie Valley, North Carolina. He was born on the 5th of October, 1946, and came from a long line of moonshiners. He eventually became a prominent figure in the industry, and under his tutelage, Digger learnt every aspect of distilling. The mentorship set Digger Maines on the path to success in moonshining. He fell in love with his hometown and started a business there. Digger Eric, like many East Tennesseans, finds peace and purpose in the forests and hills that have sheltered moonshiners for generations. His life over the years has been mostly private, and he rarely exposes his family to the media. He has built a legacy for himself in the moonshining culture and also owns a funeral home, but the path to this success was not easy.
Got their pockets full of money. Everybody's wanting to spend that money on a premium liquor, and we're at a fever pitch to make them some.
He had learned how to do it all these years. Now he was going to be doing it with a camera watching. Mark Ramsey had already appeared in the 3rd season of the show. He wanted to do it with his longtime partner, but Digger was hesitant to appear before millions. He had spent the past 40 years making liquor without the notice of anyone. Why would he start to do so now on reality television? The idea of being on TV went against everything he knew about the business. But Mark convinced him. Digger joined the 4th season of the show and has been on it ever since. The friendship between Mark and Digger was quite enviable. They had worked together all these years and knew each other's methods inside out. "We do love each other like brothers, and we're not going to do anything to hurt one another," Digger once said about his relationship with Mark. It made segments of the show more popular with the fans. Digger joining Moonshiners brought authenticity. He was not an actor. He was the real deal and knew the craft of making liquor. He learned how to build stills and select ingredients from a young age. He knew how to control temperatures and produce quality liquor. He was the best at what he did. When Digger talked about techniques or traditions, viewers knew they were hearing from someone who had learned from the best. The chemistry between Mark and Digger became a significant draw for the show. They joked with each other, solved problems together, and sometimes disagreed, but always with respect. Digger also brought innovation to the traditional moonshining methods. Through the seasons, viewers watched Mark and Eric try different recipes and work with unique ingredients, such as elderberries. The duo kept pushing the boundaries of what moonshining could be. Compared to some of the cast members, Digger was quiet and not quick to speak in gatherings. Before joining the show, the duo made moonshine illegally. They had no government approval to do the work they did, and hence had to conduct most of their business under the radar. After joining the show, Mark and Eric Digger partnered with Sugarland's distilling company to create legal moonshine products. They developed several flavors and recipes that are now sold commercially, including hazelnut rum and rye apple shine. The transition was a big deal. Digger went from hiding the work he did to proudly putting his name on bottles to be sold in stores across America. He could finally practice his craft openly without fear of arrest. He finally had a platform not only to legalize his business, but also to promote it. He could be part of the craft that he had fallen in love with. The fame that came with being on the show was a significant change for Digger. Almost everywhere he went in Newport and other parts of America, people recognized his face and wanted to meet with him. This was strange for someone who had spent decades trying to stay invisible, but he handled the change with grace. Financial stability was one of the many surprises that came with being on a reality show. It made business deals possible. Although Eric Digger made money from moonshining, it was unstable. The show provided him with financial security. He did not have to worry about raids, arrests, or fear that he could not provide for his family because the income was slow. Even the producers recognized Digger's mastery and made him a judge on Moonshiners, master distiller. Despite his fame, Digger's true passions remained his small shop in the town of Newport, 008 to 0016.
I've got a secret weapon in my holster. Tim ain't got a clue what's coming his way.
The show has allowed him to spend time with his best friend and do the work he loves. They have faced new challenges and new heights of success together. They built something neither of them could have had alone. They stayed true to their roots, regardless of fame and success. He continued to show respect to the craft that Popcorn Sutton and other moonshining legends taught him. The show did not change Digger. It gave him a bigger stage, and that was all he needed. From a hidden moonshiner to a legitimate businessman, his story remains one of the most inspiring of his time. A dark turn.
Would tell us who they were.
No, it was a protected secret or something.
Right.
Well, their record label, they want $200.
Eric Digger Maines has maintained a clean reputation since he blew up on the show in 2014. Some of his cast members have been involved in several legal troubles and controversies, but none for Digger. The only controversy he has been associated with is about the show's authenticity. The show's producers choose cast members making illegal moonshine, yet no one gets arrested. This has caused confusion and debate among viewers for years. There have been rumors that Digger and Mark were arrested, but these proved false, as there was never any official record of arrests for moonshining. While Digger was a real moonshiner before joining the show takes quite a few creative liberties, with most of it being staged with producers and actors. However, the characters who feature on the show are real, each with their own unique backstory, personality, and approach to making moonshine. What viewers see on screen is likely a mix of real moonshining knowledge presented in dramatized scenarios. Digger has legitimate expertise from his 4 decades of experience, but the illegal operations shown on television are likely produced for entertainment. Distilling is both an art and a science that has existed for hundreds of years. The process begins by fermenting grains, fruits, or sugar to create a liquid called mash, which naturally produces alcohol. This liquid is then heated in a still, separating alcohol vapors from water and impurities through evaporation and condensation. The result is a higher proof spirit that can be flavored or aged to improve taste. Traditional moonshiners in the Appalachian Mountains often used copper stills because copper removes sulfur compounds, enhancing the purity of the final product. The close calls with the authorities make the show more thrilling. In the 14th season of the show, a search of their truck revealed a copper still. Copper stills themselves aren't inherently illegal. However, the federal government requires permits and taxes on distilled spirits production. Anyone who wants to make spirits commercially must apply for and receive permits from the Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau. They have to be recognized as a distilled spirits plant and follow rules on excise taxes, bonding, record-keeping, and labeling. Simply owning a copper still is not illegal, but using one to produce alcohol for sale or distribution without proper permits and state licenses can lead to hefty fines and criminal charges. The TTB explains that legal producers must file detailed documentation and maintain accurate records of every batch they make. In recent years, laws around small-scale and home distilling have begun to shift. A federal court ruling in Texas in 2024 challenged long-standing federal restrictions on home distilling. It claimed that parts of these restrictions were unconstitutional as they applied to hobby distillers. This decision sparked new debate about whether private, non-commercial distilling might one day be legalized or regulated differently.
Like barley. Oh, yeah. Barley gives it a good earthy, nutty tone.
We ain't made no liquor kind of that in a long, long time.
No, we ain't.
The duo's saving grace was a strategically placed hole by their associate Kenny. The still was rendered inoperable, preventing any immediate arrests. The plot remained largely the same for the other cast members. They would almost run into law enforcement and narrowly escape trouble. The lack of any real legal consequences is one of the show's most significant controversies. Critics have argued that Digger and Mark may not be committing any crime. Some viewers believe everything they see is staged, and Digger was caught in the middle of it. The moonshining techniques were authentic, but some of the reality thrills were dramatized. He hasn't been arrested for DUIs or any other offenses. Newport has been his focus. He has dedicated time and energy to building his community. His partnership with Mark Ramsey has also remained drama-free. Most people expected that there would be disagreements in the friendship, but that did not seem to be happening anytime soon. However, Digger has been indirectly affected by controversies involving other cast members and the show itself. When other moonshiners on the show faced arrests or legal problems, it raised questions about everyone's involvement. When viewers discovered how much of the show was staged, it affected how they viewed all the cast members, including Digger. The show has also been criticized for glorifying illegal activity and technically encouraging people to break the law. But these challenges were far from what Digger would face later. In Season 13, he addressed speculation about his health and disclosed his illness. He claimed it was causing him to go big before he goes home. No one understood the intensity of the illness he was suffering from until he shared on the show that he had been diagnosed with chronic lymphocytic leukemia. It was a cancer of the blood and bone marrow that usually got worse over time. It was characterized by abnormal growth of lymphocytes, a type of white blood cell crucial to the immune system. For someone who built his life around physical work in the mountains and operating stills, this diagnosis was a significant threat to his way of life. After more extensive tests, my definite diagnosis is chronic lymphocytic leukemia, a condition that is not terminal. Ain't no fun, though. Probably will just make me miserable until something else kills me. Your prayers you've extended are more than welcome and felt. His approach to the illness was surprising. He was not seeking sympathy or retreating into himself. He maintained his regular outlook on life and carried. The moonshining community and show viewers expressed support and offered prayers. But nothing was the same. There was a kind of fear in the air at the time, and this unknown disease was slowly chipping away at the moonshine icon. The moment when Digger told Mark about his diagnosis became one of the most emotional scenes in the show's history.
Damn, it looks like a furnace collapsed. It did. The chore right now is to remove anything that could be considered contraband.
For viewers who had watched their friendship develop over years of episodes, seeing Mark learn about his best friend's serious illness was genuinely heartbreaking. It wasn't a scripted drama or manufactured conflict. It was two friends facing a terrifying reality together. Whenever the final cut was released, they watched it alongside the rest of the fans. It was an emotional experience for both friends. Mark's reaction to Digger's diagnosis has been one of unwavering support. Nothing about their partnership changed regardless of the illness. The producers and the Discovery Channel also faced a difficult decision when Digger revealed his diagnosis. They could have minimized it, edited it out, or made it a major storyline for dramatic purposes. Instead, they chose a more respectful approach. They gave Digger the option to tell his story the way he wanted. Producers acknowledged the reality of the situation without exploiting it. It was not turned into a ratings gimmick or a sensational episode. The channel continues to feature Digger as a central cast member, and the network hasn't suggested he reduce his role or step away from the show. They have shown proof of complete vote of confidence and a belief in Digger's ability to stay strong in the show. The production schedule has been set up to accommodate Digger's medical needs without making it obvious to viewers. Chronic lymphocytic leukemia requires regular monitoring and treatment, which means doctor appointments and potential periods where he doesn't feel well. The producers have worked around these new clauses and have done their best to support Digger. Stephen Ray Tickle, Josh Owens, Tim Smith, and other cast members continued working with Digger after the announcement. The show operates like a tight community, but because many genuinely cared about him. Fans have been incredibly supportive since Digger shared his diagnosis. On social media, people have been sending messages of encouragement, prayers, and support. Many fans feel connected to Digger and are worried about how his absence will affect the show. They're also sharing their own experiences with leukemia and offering advice and support. This has created a strong community around Digger, showing how much they care about him as a person. Digger has thanked fans for their prayers, saying they're welcome and appreciated. Living with chronic lymphocytic leukemia can be tough. Digger deals with symptoms like tiredness, infections, and feeling unwell. These symptoms are not always visible. Despite these challenges, Digger continues to work on his moonshining projects and other passions. Leukemia does not mean the end of life. Its treatment ranges from options like observation, steroids, radiation therapy, to complete-blown chemotherapy or surgery. The treatment depends on how far the disease has progressed and the patient's overall health. For the early stage of this life-threatening illness, doctors use a watch-and-wait approach. Patients get regular checkups without immediate treatment. Starting early does not mean the patient will live longer or better, but with regular checkups, the medical professional can confirm when it is right to use pills. When treatment becomes needed, targeted pills are usually the first choice. These medicines will attack the cancer cells directly, without damaging as many healthy cells as regular chemotherapy does. These limited-time treatments are now preferred because they cost less over time and prevent the cancer from becoming resistant to medications. The patients can enjoy life without the dark cloud of doom hovering over them in the form of multiple pills and injections. For those with more serious conditions, a stem cell transplant is required. There are no details about Digger's case. All that has been announced is that he is getting regular medical checkups to manage his condition. What is important is that he's taking care of himself while still doing what he loves. Digger's diagnosis hasn't changed who he is or what he values. He is still working on running business as usual, and one would expect nothing less from the iconic Digger. The Moonshiners.
Couldn't do it
No
anyway
way.
if it wasn't for you and bees.
Well, we're going to do whatever it takes to give you a grand send-off.
When Moonshiners first aired on the Discovery Channel on December 6, 2011, no one expected it to become one of the network's biggest reality shows. More than 10 years later, the show is still running, having created hundreds of episodes and several spin-offs while revealing a secret world that most Americans had never seen before. The show is an American docudrama series on Discovery Channel, produced by Magilla Entertainment. The plot followed the story of people who make illegal moonshine in the Appalachian Mountains of Kentucky, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia. By 2022, there were already 262 episodes released. Programs such as Deadliest Catch and Gold Rush had already demonstrated that audiences were interested in people who do dangerous and difficult work in isolated places. Moonshining fits this idea perfectly. Culturally, the timing was also important. Spirits were becoming more popular across America, and small distilleries were opening everywhere. People were getting curious about crafted liquor, and the excitement that came from its illegality was also a thing. The moonshining tradition also had a long history in America. It went back hundreds of years to when farmers turned leftover grain into alcohol. Many farmers in rural areas made their own whiskey from surplus corn or grain and to earn extra income. When the federal government introduced taxes on alcohol in the late 1700s, some refused to pay. This led to the Whiskey Rebellion. During Prohibition in the 1920s, moonshining reached its peak. They supplied illegal liquor across the nation. Even after alcohol became legal again, the tradition continued in remote mountain communities where access to legal distilleries was limited. It turned into a primary underground business. By 2011, the old-time moonshiners were fading away. Younger people were not learning the trade, and many of the legendary shiners who had been doing it for decades were passing on. As one of their last significant figures was laid to rest, those who remained worked together to ensure the tradition was not lost over time. Putting it on television was not just about entertainment. It was a means of preserving culture. Filming the show came with its difficulties. The show claimed to follow people engaged in illegal work, which posed legal risks and production challenges. Magilla Entertainment had to find safe and secret ways to film in remote mountain areas without exposing the moonshiners' hidden operations, and the personal struggles and conflicts that came with that lifestyle. The crew frequently used night vision equipment because most of the moonshining allegedly occurred after dark, so they would not get caught. From the beginning, the authenticity of all reality shows has been questioned. Local officials have claimed that the show is not exactly what it seems. Some authorities in Virginia have stated that no illegal alcohol is actually being made by the people shown on television. The production includes partly scripted situations, staged raids, and controlled filming setups made to look like real hidden distilleries. This approach gave the show an excitement of illegal activity without actually breaking the law during filming. When selecting the cast, the producers of Moonshiners intentionally sought individuals with real experience in moonshining and unique personalities. They were looking for individuals who had lived a life and could prove they knew the craft. Early cast members like Tim Smith and Stephen Ray Tickle came directly from the world of moonshining. Tim Smith had been making his own liquor for many years before the show and later opened a legal distillery called Climax Moonshine. Tickle had worked with many different moonshiners over the course of his lifetime. He had a lively, free spirit. His sense of humor brought him quick popularity. As the series got bigger, new members joined the show. Mark Ramsey appeared in Season 3, followed by his close friend and partner Digger Maines in Season 4. Josh Owens, a former professional motocross racer, brought a younger and more adventurous energy to the cast. The producers worked hard to include a wide variety of approaches to moonshining. Some cast members brought their family-taught methods, some experimented with new ingredients, and others stuck to traditional moonshine recipes. Many original and longtime cast members are still part of the show as of this year. Josh Owens has appeared in about 175 episodes, Tim Smith in 151, and Tickle in 150. They all successfully moved from illegal moonshining into legal business ventures. Tim's Climax Moonshine is now sold around the United States. Mark Ramsey and Digger Maines teamed up with Sugarlands Distilling Company to release their own legal moonshine products. Despite suffering a severe motorcycle accident in 2022 that left him with several broken bones, he kept up with the show. He started Season 13 with Josh on crutches. He was determined to return to distilling despite injuries.
I'm tired of this.
Tickle continues to appear on the show as well. He has gone through personal struggles while maintaining his humor. He has not stopped his work with other cast members. Some cast members have left Moonshiners. Some have been quiet, while others, like Chuck Battison, have been involved in heavy disagreements with production. Popcorn Sutton passed away before the show premiered, and many mourned the fact that Sutton did not live long enough to witness a show carrying on the legacy of Moonshiners. The show has been a major rating success for the Discovery Channel. It achieved a 1.7 rating in its target audience. It won the night on cable and ranked second among all shows airing at 10 p.m. Its strong viewership ranged through various age groups. It ran for more than a decade and birthed multiple spin-offs. In 2013, the network announced a spin-off centered on Stephen Ray Tickle. In February 2019, another series titled Moonshiners, Whiskey Business premiered. It grew out of a special episode in which Tim Smith helped a struggling Missouri distillery. Critical reviews have been mixed. Many reviewers have praised the show for its unique story and chemistry among the cast. They have been concerned with authenticity and appropriation, but audiences have responded positively to the critics. Fans enjoy learning about the craft and appreciate the thrill it comes with. The show has also opened economic doors for many of its stars. Some have started legal distilleries, written books, made public appearances, and built lasting careers. For people from struggling rural areas, this meant there was a way out of mediocre living. Whether Moonshiners is real or partially staged, the show has kept the audience fascinated and satisfied at the end of every episode. Moonshiners has created a legacy for itself as a show and as a representation of a people who started a tradition and have remained loyal to it. What do you think about the art of moonshining? Share your thoughts in the comments. Do not forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to this channel.